Imagine the most luxurious hotel in the world. Walls of polished mahogany and rosewood, inlaid with marquetry. Panels of embossed Spanish leather, plush armchairs and sofas of deep velvet. Crystal glassware, fine china, gleaming silver. Soft lamplight glowing against the darkness. Sumptuous private cabins with crisp linen sheets, transformed by night into beds fit for a king. A dining car where waiters in immaculate uniforms serve a multi-course gourmet feast prepared by master chefs, accompanied by the finest wines on tables laid with damask and silver. Now imagine that this entire palace of luxury is moving, gliding through the night across a continent, carrying you in perfect comfort and elegance from the heart of Western Europe all the way to the gateway of the East. This was the Orient Express, the most famous and glamorous train in the history of the world, a moving palace of luxury that carried kings, aristocrats, millionaires, diplomats, spies, and adventurers across Europe in an age when such a journey was the height of romance and sophistication. Today, we are going to step aboard this legendary train at the dawn of the 20th century and experience a journey on the most glamorous railway in history. Using advanced AI trained on the history of the great luxury trains, the accounts of those who travelled aboard them, the records of the company that ran them, and the romance and reality of the golden age of rail travel, we have reconstructed a journey on the Orient Express. To understand its glamour, you must first understand what it meant, in this age, to cross a continent. In the era before air travel, the railway was the marvel of the age, and the luxury express was its crowning glory. For most of human history, travelling across a continent had been slow, difficult, uncomfortable, and often dangerous, a matter of weeks or months by carriage, horse, and ship, over bad roads and through many discomforts. The railway changed everything. Suddenly, distances that had once taken weeks could be crossed in days, in comfort, at speeds that earlier generations could scarcely have imagined. And one visionary entrepreneur had an idea that would define an age: to create a train that was not merely a means of transport, but a destination in itself, a rolling hotel of such luxury that the journey would be as magnificent as any palace stay. He founded a company devoted to luxurious sleeping cars and dining cars, and his masterpiece was a service that would carry passengers in unprecedented comfort across the entire breadth of Europe, from the great cities of the West all the way to the edge of the Orient, to the fabled city on the threshold between Europe and Asia. This was the Orient Express, and from its first run, it captured the imagination of the world, becoming the very symbol of luxury, glamour, romance, and adventure in the great age of rail. The journey began in a great Western European capital, and from the very first moment, the experience was one of unparalleled luxury. Boarding the train, you stepped not into an ordinary railway carriage, but into a world of opulence. The cars were the work of master craftsmen, fitted out like the finest rooms of a grand hotel or a luxury yacht. The walls were panelled in rare and beautiful woods, polished to a gleam, decorated with intricate inlaid designs. The fittings were of the finest quality, brass and crystal and fine fabrics. The seating was deep and comfortable, upholstered in rich velvet and leather. Elegant lamps cast a warm glow. Thick carpets muffled the sound. Everything spoke of wealth, taste, and comfort. Your private sleeping compartment was a marvel of clever, luxurious design, a comfortable sitting space by day that the attendants transformed, with crisp linens, soft pillows, and fine blankets, into a proper bed by night, so that you could sleep in genuine comfort as the train carried you onward through the darkness across the sleeping continent. Attentive staff saw to your every need. This was not travel as endurance. This was travel as pleasure, as luxury, as an experience to be savoured. A moving palace gliding you across a continent in a cocoon of elegance. The heart of the experience, and one of its greatest glories, was the dining car. Aboard the Orient Express, dining was an event of the highest sophistication, the equal of any fine restaurant in Europe, all the more remarkable for taking place aboard a moving train. The dining car was beautifully appointed, with tables laid in white damask, set with fine china, sparkling crystal glasses, and gleaming silver cutlery, and graced with fresh flowers and the soft glow of lamps. The food was prepared by skilled chefs in the train's own galley, working in cramped quarters to produce meals of extraordinary quality. A typical dinner was a lavish, multi-course affair, Rich soups, fish, fine meats and game, elegant side dishes, cheeses, and exquisite desserts, course after course of gourmet cuisine, accompanied by the finest wines and champagnes. The waiters and stewards, impeccably dressed and trained to the highest standard, served with the grace and precision of a great hotel and somehow managed to do so flawlessly even as the train swayed and rolled along the tracks, balancing trays of fine food and brimming glasses without spilling a drop. To dine aboard the Orient Express in evening dress, beneath the lamplight, on gourmet food and fine wine, as the magnificent landscapes of Europe slid past the windows, was one of the great luxury experiences of the age, the very height of civilized travel. And the journey itself, the passage across Europe, was a romance of changing landscapes and crossing frontiers. The train carried its passengers across the entire breadth of the continent, through a succession of countries, cultures, and breathtaking scenery. From the elegant cities of the West, the train rolled across plains and through great cities, climbed through dramatic mountain passes with snow-capped peaks and plunging valleys, crossed rivers and forests, and traveled ever eastward, through the heart of Europe and into the Balkans, toward the meeting place of West and East. Each border crossing was its own small drama, with officials boarding to check papers, the changing of currencies, the shifting of languages and customs, the sense of passing from one world into another. The passengers watched from the windows of their luxurious cabins and the lounge cars as the landscapes and the cultures of a whole continent unfolded before them, a panorama of Europe glimpsed in comfort and elegance. And the final destination held a special romance. The great city on the strait dividing Europe from Asia, the fabled gateway to the Orient, a place of domes and minarets and ancient mystery, the meeting point of two continents and two worlds, where the luxurious journey from the modern West arrived at the threshold of the exotic, legendary East. The very name of the train, evoking the Orient, captured this romance. It carried you from the familiar West to the edge of the mysterious East, in unimaginable luxury. And it was the passengers themselves, as much as the train, who made the Orient Express a legend. For this was no ordinary collection of travelers. The Orient Express carried the elite of the world, the rich, the powerful, the famous, and the mysterious. Kings and queens and princes traveled aboard it, aristocrats and nobles, wealthy industrialists and financiers, famous artists, writers, and performers, diplomats and ambassadors on missions of state. The train was a glamorous, exclusive world unto itself, where the passengers dressed in their finest evening clothes for dinner, where elegant conversation flowed in many languages over fine wine, where romances bloomed and intrigues unfolded in the close, luxurious confines of the cars. And because it carried diplomats, officials, and the wealthy and powerful across the borders of a Europe simmering with rivalries and tensions, the Orient Express became associated, in fact and in legend, with espionage and intrigue. Spies were said to travel its routes, gathering secrets, shadowing targets, exchanging information. Secret deals and clandestine meetings took place in its cabins and dining cars. The train became a byword for international intrigue, a glamorous stage on which the dramas of a tense and divided continent played out. This atmosphere of luxury, romance, mystery, and danger made the Orient Express irresistible to the imagination, and it became the setting for famous works of fiction, above all a legendary murder mystery that fixed the train forever in the popular imagination as a place of glamour, secrets, and intrigue. The Orient Express was, in the end, the perfect symbol of a particular golden moment in history. It belonged to an age of confidence, elegance, and faith in progress, the years around the turn of the 20th century, when Europe was at peace, when the wealthy classes lived lives of extraordinary luxury, and when the marvels of the industrial age, the railways, the great ships, the new technologies, seemed to promise a future of ever-increasing comfort, speed, and sophistication. The train embodied the glamour and the optimism of this era, sometimes remembered as a golden age of European civilization before the catastrophe that was to come. For that confident, glittering world would soon be shattered. The Great War that erupted in the early 20th century would tear Europe apart, sweep away empires and aristocracies, and end the Golden Age forever. The Orient Express would survive in various forms for many decades more, through war and peace and a changing world, its name never losing its magic. But the particular world it had been born to serve, the elegant, confident, aristocratic Europe of the turn of the century would pass into history. And so, the Orient Express became not just a train, but a symbol of luxury, of romance, of glamour and intrigue, and of a vanished golden age, a moving palace that carried the elite of a doomed and dazzling world across a continent in the twilight of its splendor. That was the Orient Express, the train that was a moving palace. The most famous and glamorous railway in the history of the world. A rolling hotel of mahogany and crystal and velvet, where passengers slept in luxurious cabins, dined on gourmet feasts, served on silver and fine china by impeccable waiters, and were carried in unimaginable comfort and elegance across the entire breadth of Europe, from the great cities of the West to the fabled gateway of the East. A train that carried the elite of the world, kings and aristocrats and millionaires, diplomats and spies and adventurers, through a panorama of landscapes and cultures, across the borders of a tense and glittering continent, in an atmosphere of luxury, romance, and intrigue that made it a legend and the setting for famous tales of mystery. It was the very symbol of the golden age of travel, of a confident and elegant world at the turn of the 20th century, the height of what luxury and sophistication could mean in the great age of the railway. That world would soon be swept away by war and change, but the magic of the Orient Express has never faded. Even today, the name conjures an entire vanished world of glamour and romance. The polished wood and the crystal glasses, the gourmet dinners and the fine wine, the elegant passengers in their evening clothes, and the great train gliding through the night across a continent, a moving palace carrying its dazzling passengers toward the mysterious East, in the last golden twilight before the modern world began.